This video is a part of a series of Solutions Stories thepost is publishing as part of the Solutions Journalism Network's Student Media Challenge. The Post traveled to West Virginia University in Morgantown to compare the approach of WVU and Ohio University in both campus and community aspects. With both towns being in the heart of Appalachia, they face very similar challenges. On campus, the response is centered around education and naloxone boxes, while communities focus on institutionalized treatment, recovery programs, and group therapies. With differing results, the central question of this project is what actually works and why.
We really started wanting to address the opioid issue and distribute Narcan around fall of 2020. We worked with our local county health department who does naloxone trainings and distributes Narcan kits. So we offered them to students, kind of coordinating between the health department and the students and staff and faculty. And then we, from there, they then trained myself and a few of my colleagues to deliver the training, and we established a standing order through the state for Narcan distribution. So we have a large supply, and we're able to do naloxone trainings by request, and then we do open ones, and they're open to students, staff, and faculty.
I think the first thing we do is not just response, but we do have response mechanisms. So we have 5 naloxone cabinets around campus, and then we also have naloxone here at the Office of Health Promotion. It's also at the Collegiate Recovery Community. When we launched this a couple years ago, we ensured that staff and faculty and those where the cabinets were going to be placed, that staff and faculty were trained. So I think we had about 300 to 400 people trained when we first launched.
Just recently, our IFC for our fraternities just made it mandatory that each fraternity house has to have Narcan kit available. So during our welcome week, I typically do at least one, often 2 or 3 naloxone trainings. Well, the WVU, our department, does an event called Chill Zone at the beginning of each fall semester, and we have tables with just a range of info and helpful resources for students. And during the period of time down at our student union, we always reserve a space where I can do a naloxone training and distribute Narcan kits, and that's always, it tends to be a full room, mostly filled with first-year students who are just coming on campus.
So one of the things that we also do is, when we think about mandatory trainings, we bring in, we shape some of that information for first-year students too. Learning community center, leaders to say, there is Narcan in our office. We have to search for funding to ensure that we are able to have Narcan in our office and fentanyl strips. So we work with our community partners. They help us as well.
Athens County and Monongahela County share more than just resilience on their flagship universities. In both, student populations drive the local economy and shape public health infrastructures. That dependence has positioned each university as a central power in how its community responds to the opioid epidemic. But the strategies that they have emerged look different.
We are a recovery community organization, which is a nonprofit governed and led by people with lived experience with addiction and recovery and substance use disorder. We offer non-clinical supports to people in recovery and also connections to the clinical and other services and supports they may need outside of that, and also kind of the ongoing support beyond even those specific programs. And we also do a lot of harm reduction. So in the last year, we have distributed over 1,000 kits of Narcan in our harm reduction kits through events like the Nelsonville Music Festival, the Paw Paw Festival, some of the local events and festivals. We actually last year started, and I think we're going to plan on doing it again this year, collaborating with the collegiate recovery community on campus. And we actually set up a space at Millfest and Palmerfest last year. I'm going to plan on doing that again. So at those events, and we set up, like in the bigger festivals, we set up a space where people can come, just a recovery safe space. You know, a lot of festivals, there's a lot of alcohol, drugs, there's a lot of things going on, and sometimes people just need a break from that. So we provide just a safe space where they can come, chill out for a little while.
Recovery Connections of Southeast Ohio not only focuses on getting supplies out into the community, but also peer-to-peer mentorship for those in recovery.
We're there to coach them and guide them, but we're also there to direct them to those things, because we can, and again, it's kind of like knowing the limitations of both and knowing the benefits of both. So we have our limitations. We're not licensed counselors. We're not psychologists. We're not behavioral health credentialed experts, but we've been through it. And then vice versa. So we've got to know our limits. They've got to see, their limits and those partnerships, and that's where those partnerships are formed and where those gaps are. So one of the things we like to focus on as well is, like, if somebody comes to us, or let's say they're in a 30, 60, 90-day inpatient treatment, whether we've referred them there or whether they're coming out, when they come out, we're not just, okay, go to your treatment and we're done with you. When they're done with that treatment, we want to be there to say, okay, how did that go? What do you want to do next? What's your next goal? And to continue that on, which I think will ease the burden of those agencies, because they don't have to worry about or think about, well, okay, once you're done with our program, you're just out the door, and what next? They can refer them to us, or if we know they're finishing up the program, we can reach out and say, hey, here we are, what's next for you? And I think that's an important gap and a big difference between what we can do versus what a behavioral health clinical organization or agency could do.
While Recovery Connections of Southeast Ohio focuses on peer-to-peer, the approach in West Virginia, specifically with the COACH program, is vastly different.
An old saying in addictions that the best time to treat is, strike when the iron is hot, when they come through the door. We've been, I think, really good about scheduling intakes quickly, and usually folks can get those appointments within a few days. And so what the COACH program is, functionally speaking, we get folks into a group, usually in person or video care, where they have full wraparound services, which includes meeting with a psychiatrist, meeting with a therapist, and meeting with a case manager. More touch basis points means better accountability, and they're more likely to improve in the future. It's impossible to have a healthy, thriving community or society when the opioid epidemic is just ravaging the lives of so many. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find many communities in Appalachia that aren't touched, maybe many families in Appalachia that aren't touched. And so I think that's why it's been a big quality of life thing of importance to not only the medical system, but the university.
To read the full story, visit thepostathens.com. Reporting for The Post, I'm Cassie.